This is Shifting Our Schools, episode 93, my 5 Chrome extensions for students to start the new year.
Listen up, educators. Are you looking to take your classroom to the next level? The technological shift in education is happening right now. If you're looking to integrate technology into your classroom, you're in the right place. Welcome to Shifting Our Schools with your host, Jeff Udick.
Welcome back to Shifting Our Schools. Thank you for listening, and I hope you are enjoying our one-to-one Summer of Fun episodes so far. Today is a quick episode where I list my top 5 Chrome extensions for students to get started in the new year. Of course, there are hundreds of these out there. Some are better than others. And my goal really is to give you my top 5 and then have you share your top Chrome extensions via the hashtag SOS podcast on Twitter or at our Flipgrid at flipgrid.com/SOS podcast. I would really appreciate it if you were willing to do it on our Flipgrid, and because I can then download the audio and you get to become part of our podcast. Even if you have just one, if you hear my 5 and you're like, oh, he missed this one, everybody needs to know about this one, please head over to Flipgrid. Again, that's flipgrid.com/SOS podcast, and let us know about that one. And I can download that audio and you get to become part of the podcast and part of this great podcast community as well. That's, us sharing, teachers sharing is what this is all about. So please let me know, and I'll make sure that we spread the word on that extension as well. We are only as knowledgeable as our network. So please help me help others to know about these great extensions that are out there. Okay, here are my 5 Chrome extensions that I think every student should have installed starting week 1 to get going. And there are links to each one of these in the show notes. So if you want to go and check them out for yourself. Number 1, share to Google Classroom. If you are using Google Classroom, if you're not using Google Classroom, I apologize, this isn't for you. But if you are using Google Classroom, the power of share to Google Classroom extension, I think, is phenomenal. Teachers can, with one click, get all the students on one web page. And at the same time, students can share what is on their screen instantly with teachers. Fantastic, fantastic extension that just really helps the management of a classroom. So that's my first one, share to Google Classroom. Number 2, this is a no-brainer. I'm in all my trainings, this is the one that we talk about the most, and that is Screencastify. I love Screencastify. It's one of my favorite apps. I actually train. At some point, all the teachers that go through training with me, we end up playing with Screencastify. Such a fantastic app, easy to use, so many different ways that you can use Screencastify in the classroom. Whether it's having kids do math and recording video, just a fantastic extension. So if you haven't played with Screencastify, I highly recommend that you go and download that one and play with that one. It's just very easy. Allows you to record your desktop for a teacher along with your face in the bottom right-hand corner. Allows kids just to turn on the video. Quite long videos as well. It's all hosted. Oh, perfect. It connects to your Google Drive. I mean, it just never ends. So Screencastify is my number 2. Number 3 is Selection Reader. I love this app. This app allows students to highlight text and it reads it out loud to them. So it's a text-to-speech extension. I'm always looking for a good one. I've gone through multiples over the years. Some take longer and then all of a sudden they become, they're either slow, they don't sound good, or they get really popular and then all of a sudden you have to pay for them. The one that I'm liking right now is Selection Reader. If you have another one that you use, please share it with me. I'm always looking for ones that allow students for them to listen to the articles on the internet. And this is great for kids with disabilities, kids who have reading disabilities or struggle with reading, much like myself. I love using apps like this where I can highlight text and have it read to me. That's called Selection Reader. Number 4 is called Mercury Reader. It's a little bit different. Mercury Reader is a Google Chrome extension which removes ads and distraction and leaves only the text and images for clear reading. Now, this has been built into Safari in the Mac browser for a long time. And it's nice that there is now an extension that we can have kids install into Google Chrome, if you're on a Chromebook, that it does the same thing. So basically it gets rid of all the distractions, and with a single click, it just, boom, brings out the data or the content that we want kids to focus on. It's just another great way to start having conversations with students about, okay, how do you stay focused when you need to read something on the internet? That one's called Mercury Reader, and that's number 4. And last but not least, I've gone back and forth with this one, but I think we're in a time period where we really have to start rethinking about how we teach grammar. And so number 5 for me is Grammarly. Grammarly, if you're not using it, is a great extension that looks for grammar mistakes, not just for spelling errors, but also grammatically corrects the sentences that you have. And there's a free version and a paid version. I've only ever used the free version. It works across multiple different apps. It works inside all of the Google Suite. And my understanding is it also works inside Office 365 online. So if you're online, it works within those apps as well, even though it's a browser-based system. Just a great way to have grammar be part of every writing that kids do and help support students. Why are we saying that you can't use these apps? If we're asking kids to do writing on the internet, we need to have and allow them to use apps like Grammarly, which just helps with spelling, but it also helps with grammatical errors. And you do get better over time. I found that I've gotten better over time since I started using Grammarly. So those are my 5: Share to Google Classroom, Screencastify, Selection Reader, which is our text-to-speech reader, Mercury Reader, which gets rid of all the ads, and Grammarly. Those are my 5. Okay, so it's your turn. What are the Chrome extensions that you think are must-haves to start the school year? I'd love to hear from you. Again, hashtag SOS Podcast on Twitter, or please head over to our Flipgrid at flipgrid.com/SOS Podcast and leave me a recording there so I can grab that audio and we can share this with everyone else in the community. I can't wait to see you on the network this week.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Shifting Our Schools with your host, Jeff Udick. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit sospodcast.org, facebook.com/Jeff Udick, and on Twitter @JUdick. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time on Shifting Our Schools.